I stepped into the ballroom at exactly 3:05 p.m. on March 9th. The place was packed white balloons, gold tablecloths, a magician in the corner warming up. My heels hadn't even sunk into the carpet yet when a girl with a clipboard stepped in front of me. "Family table's full," she said, without looking up. Then she added, "Kitchen's over there." Behind her, my daughter-in-law Vanessa stood still. No smile. No hello. She nodded like this was all planned. I looked past her. There were 8 chairs at that table. I counted 7 people. I didn't ask. I didn't beg. I just said, "Thank you," and walked to the back. I'd bought the balloons. The magician $275 charged to my card. I stood there holding the cake I baked my grandson's name in blue letters, still soft. They didn't even notice I hadn't handed it over yet. The DJ played that song from Encanto. The kids danced. I sat on a folding chair near the service tray, between a stack of plastic forks and a crying toddler no one claimed. One of the caterers, a young man named Luis, leaned over and whispered, "Ma'am, this your party. You're on the invoice." I nodded once. "Don't worry about me," I said. "I'm just the help." I should have known earlier. Vanessa didn't reply to my message last week, asking if she needed help with the head count. "All set," she said. I missed it. I told myself I didn't want to make drama. Now I was the only grandparent not at the table. My son, he saw me, looked straight at me, then turned back to cut slices. I get it. He wants peace at home. But if this was peace, why did it feel like war? And here's the part. I hate saying I stayed. Because I didn't want to ruin my grandson's memory of his 4th birthday. Because I was afraid if I walked out, they wouldn't let me back in his life. Luis came back. "Still want the backup cupcake served?" I looked down at the receipt on my phone. My name, my card. I didn't answer him. I opened my contacts. Next chapter, I called the caterer. Not to yell, to check something. The receipt was still in my inbox, dated February 27th, 9:14 a.m. I scrolled past the confirmation from Crystal Events Catering. Total $2,385.60. Paid from my Bank of America card ending in 8201. Vanessa had forwarded the menu to me, sure, but the booking, the payment, the contract, all in my name. I called the number on the invoice. A woman named Clarice picked up. "Hi, this is Margaret Fisher," I said. "I just want to confirm who's listed as the client for the Thompson party, March 9th. She didn't hesitate. "That's you, ma'am. You handled the deposit and final balance." "Is something wrong?" I told her no. Just needed to double check. She offered to email me the signed document again. I said yes. The silence after the call felt different. Heavier. Not angry, just clear. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't being petty. I was being erased. And I let it happen more than once. Vanessa's friends kept saying things like, "She pulled this whole thing off in 2 weeks. I sat there smiling like an extra in someone else's movie while they clinked glasses 2 tables away." One of the guests, a woman named Erica I'd met once before, walked by and whispered, "This party's gorgeous. Your daughter-in-law really knows how to throw one." I didn't correct her. I just nodded. Later, I sent the email to my friend Judy. She's a retired accountant. She called me back 2 minutes later. "Wait. You're not on the guest list, but you're the client. That's not family, honey. That's logistics with feelings." I laughed, but it stung. She wasn't wrong. You ever realize you've been complicit in your own sidelining? I kept thinking, if they really saw me as family, why did they need me silent to keep things smooth? Why did my seat disappear the moment the bill was paid? I opened the folder where I keep all house documents, not to threaten, just to see how much else they think has their name on it. The video came in at 3:17 a.m. on March 10th. I was up, couldn't sleep. Still had makeup residue under my eyes. Notification popped up, forwarded media from Vanessa's planning team. Group chat. I wasn't supposed to be in, but apparently someone forgot I was ever added. No caption. Just a clip, 17 seconds. I turned the volume low, pressed play. There she was, Vanessa in that green jumpsuit I paid for, holding a flute of champagne, laughing, loud. She still thinks this is her event, she said, voice sharp like it had practice. Just move her with the staff. She blends in there anyway. Someone off-screen snorted. She added, "Don't worry, she won't make a scene." She never does. She was wearing the pearl studs I gave her for her baby shower. I paused it, rewound, watched again. I didn't cry. I didn't text back. I hit save. Then I emailed it to myself with the subject line proof. Next morning, I called Marisol, my cousin. She used to work HR. Knows how things play when you need backup. I didn't even say hello. Just, "Can you watch something and tell me I'm not imagining this?" She watched, said nothing for a moment, then just asked, "Do you want me to help write an incident report?" I laughed through my nose. "No incident," I said. "Just memory. Thing is, they always say I'm part of the family. But if that's true, why did they need me to disappear from the pictures? And here's the ugly part, I saw this coming. I just didn't want to admit it. The last few holidays they sat me at the kid table because it was easier. I thought it was a space issue. It wasn't. It was a role. I didn't send the video to anyone else. Not yet. But I renamed the file, put the date and time, saved it in 2 places. Next step, I wanted to see whose name was on the venue contract. I found the folder behind the rice cooker where I keep warranties and water bills. Red cover. Rubber band from the bank still tight around it. I hadn't touched it since I paid the balance on February 20th, $6,200 for venue catering add-ons, and the magician who never even said hello to me. I sat at the dining table, coffee going cold. Pulled the contract out page by page. All of it was there. My signature on the event deposit. My email for the vendor point of contact. The final payment from my checking account. No mention of Vanessa. Not even as a secondary contact. I called Clarice from Crystal Hall again. I kept it short. "Can you just read me the name under final approval?" She clicked through. "Margaret Fisher," she said. "Is that you?" "Yes," I said. "That's me." She paused, then added, "You signed off on everything from the table layouts to the lighting schedule." I remember. I thanked her and hung up. The nerve it takes to shove someone into the kitchen at an event they signed for. If they consider me family, why do they keep trying to hide I was even involved? And if Vanessa's so independent, why is my name the one that keeps showing up on all the invoices? I kept staring at the phrase, "Client M. Fisher." My stomach turned. Not because it was there, but because I let them walk around like it wasn't. Marisol texted later that night. "Want me to screenshot anything?" Just in case, I replied. "Not yet. Just gathering." Truth is, I've seen this pattern before. When David was applying for his first car loan, it was my credit that got him through. When they bought that gray Lexus last summer, they used my AAA discount and my address for insurance. I didn't ask questions. Maybe I should have. I reopened the folder and added one sticky note, "Keep for lawyer." Then I plugged in my phone and checked the video file again because what came next had to be precise. He called on a Wednesday, March 13th, 7:42 p.m. I was rinsing rice when the phone buzzed. "Hey, Mom." He started like nothing had happened. "You looked tense at the party. Everything okay?" I didn't answer right away. I let the water run over my hands. He kept going. Vanessa didn't mean anything by it. She just wanted things to look clean and coordinated. You know how she gets with aesthetics. That was his word, aesthetics. Like pushing me to the kitchen was a color choice. I asked one thing, "David, did you know there wouldn't be a seat for me?" He paused, just half a beat too long. Then it wasn't meant to be personal. "You were there. That's what matters." I sat down at the table. My hand left a wet mark on the wood. If I wasn't your mother, would you treat any other paying client like that? He didn't respond. Because if you say it's family, why does it feel like I'm only useful when the bills due? He changed the subject. Said Milo loved the magician. Said next year they'll do something smaller, like scaling down is an apology. I asked, so is this the story you'd tell a lawyer? That I just misunderstood your wife's intentions? Another pause. Shorter this time. Mom, don't make this a thing. Please. Earlier that day, I had coffee with Judy at the diner near Safeway. I told her he might call. She stirred her cream in slow circles and said, if he apologizes fast, it's love. If he explains first, it's spin. I nodded then. I really felt it now. I hung up without saying goodbye, then sat there a long time with the spoon still in my hand. I hate that I gave him so many chances to manage me like I was part of the furniture. But mostly, I hate that I kept calling it love, just to keep the peace. Next morning, I printed the catering contract again, because now I needed one more set of eyes. I invited Sylvia over on Sunday morning, March 17th, around 10:20 a.m. She lives 2 houses down and drives the same silver Prius she's had since 2011. I told her I made banana bread, but the truth is, I needed another pair of eyes. I laid everything on the table. The printed catering invoice, the seating chart from the planner's PDF, the forwarded video file on my phone. She took one bite of the bread, then looked me dead in the eye. You want my honest take? I nodded. She said, if you weren't family, this would already be a case. I asked her, if someone down the line says I misremembered or exaggerated, would you say what you saw? She didn't blink. You were seated next to the service door, Marge. I saw it. I thought it was weird, but I figured it was some family thing I didn't understand. That stung a little, some family thing. Like I was the weird part. Sylvia helped me print everything again, this time with timestamps. I didn't ask her to lie. I just asked her to stand still if this ever came up again. She said sure, but I hope it doesn't. So did I. I keep circling back to the part that bothers me most. David saw. He saw where I was sitting. He saw the chair they forgot. And he chose to smooth it over instead of stop it. If you're not protecting your parent from that, then who exactly are you protecting? I caught myself halfway through printing, thinking, what if Milo asks me one day why I wasn't in the pictures? What do I say? Ask your mom. I didn't want to blow things up, but I also didn't want to be the one person without backup if they tried to erase the truth. We didn't talk about revenge. We didn't plan any scenes. We just organized the truth, neatly with labels, just in case. Next, I needed to know if they thought I'd stay quiet again. Would they repeat the same move? March 23rd, 4:10 p.m. at Vanessa's mother's condo in Garden Oaks. They said it was just a casual follow-up gathering after Milo's birthday pizza cupcakes, no need to dress up. I still brought a bottle of wine and wore a clean blouse. It was the kind of thing you do when you're trying to be decent. There were 7 chairs around the table, 8 adults. Again, Vanessa handed me a paper plate and gestured toward the fold-out chair by the patio door. You don't mind sitting here, right? The kids are taking the couch. Her mom sat dead center at the table, flanked by her sister and David. I didn't answer. I just nodded and sat where she pointed. The file stayed zipped in my purse under the table. Venue contract, catering invoices, printed screenshots, the original seating chart. I didn't need to wave it around. Not yet, but it was there. Sylvia had texted me that morning. You going? I replied. Let's see if they trip twice on the same crack. She sent back a thumbs up and nothing else. I watched them for almost an hour. Vanessa cutting pizza like she owned the place. Her mom making a toast about how proud she was of the amazing team effort. My name didn't come up. Again. Not a word. I felt the sting in my throat, same one from last week. I hated that it still hit. You tell me if this is just how things are? Then why is it always me that disappears? First, David looked over at one point and mouthed, "You okay?" I smiled, tight, the kind you give a stranger at a store. It used to mean something. Now it felt like a transaction. And here's the part that gutted me. I still hoped they'd fix it before I had to say anything. Still wanted Milo to see us smiling. Vanessa raised her glass. Toast coming. Her voice louder than before. That's when I reached down, unzipped my purse, and grabbed the USB. March 23rd, 6:32 p.m. I stood up with the USB in hand and walked over to the TV mounted above the faux fireplace. They were still passing around paper plates of grocery store cupcakes when I bent down and plugged it in. No announcement, no speech. I just tapped play. The video lit up the screen. Vanessa's voice clear, smug, a little too loud, saying, "She still thinks this is her event. Just move her with the staff. She blends in anyway." Laughter. Then the part where she said, "Don't worry, she won't make a scene." She never does. Nobody said anything. Just the sound of the AC humming and someone setting a cup down too hard. Her mom's hand froze mid-slice cake knife still stuck in the sheet. One of David's co-workers, Tina, I think the one with the fake lashes, glanced at him and whispered, "Is that real?" He didn't answer. He looked at me, then looked away. Vanessa tried to laugh. "Okay, that's completely out of context," she said, voice brittle. But the silence in the room wasn't on her side. Then the lights cut. TV off. Room dark. For a second I thought maybe someone tripped the breaker, but I heard a plug click behind the couch. Someone yanked it. Maybe David. Doesn't matter. The video had already done its job. A beat later, someone turned on the lamp near the hallway. Dim yellow light. Enough to see faces. No one clapped. No one yelled. Just the kind of quiet that shows who's really uncomfortable. Sylvia had warned me, if you play it, they'll never say sorry. Just get defensive. I said, I'm not looking for sorry. I'm looking for clarity. I still felt shame rising in my chest because deep down, I had hoped they'd fix it themselves. I didn't want to be the one to force it. But they gave me the file. They left me no choice. I walked back to the table and pulled out the fold-up chair they gave me. Then I set it down at the head of the room and sat. He didn't call on Sunday or Monday. By Tuesday, I knew she'd blocked me. No texts, no group chat updates, no new photos of Milo. Just quiet. I didn't chase it. I sat at the kitchen table that afternoon, March 26th, 2:45 p.m., sorting laundry while the photo book sat open next to the detergent. The birthday picture. Milo blowing out the candles on the dinosaur cake. Everyone behind him clapping. Her side of the family filled the frame. I wasn't in it. Not even in the reflection on the fridge. Judy dropped by with lemon muffins. She sat down, looked at the photo, then at me. "You know this was always going to cost something," she said. I nodded. I just didn't think I'd feel it in the groceries. David's voice stayed in my head. "Don't make this a thing." As if his discomfort mattered more than what they did to me. If I'm family, why does me standing up for myself feel like betrayal to them? You can call me petty. But let me ask, if your son's wife erased you in front of 150 people and your son stood there, what would you do? And here's the part. I haven't told anyone I checked my messages from 6 months ago. I saw how many times I offered help, how many times I adjusted plans to not be in the way. I let it pile up. Then I blamed them for thinking I had no limits. I still set the table on Sunday. Not for them, just habit. One chair stayed empty. I didn't cry, but I looked at it too long. Milo used to sit there with his crayons. I emailed Clarice from the venue to thank her again. She replied in 2 minutes. "No problem, Ms. Fisher. You were one of our most organized clients, not grandma, not +1. Client. Next week I had the lawyer coming by to review the deed. Not to change it, just to see who's been assuming what. It was April 14th, 12:10 p.m. I made lunch for one. Not because no one was invited, but because no one had earned it. Pasta. Nothing fancy. A splash of olive oil, a handful of arugula, a sprinkle of parmesan. The sun came in through the east window. I ate in the dining room. No background noise. Just the ticking wall clock and the sound of my own fork. The head chair was empty. It sat across from me like it knew it used to hold someone. Used to. I could hear her voice echo from old dinners. Mom, you're being dramatic. No, Vanessa. Dramatic is a 4-tier cake and a seating chart that excludes the person who paid for both. I left the chair where it was. On purpose. Not out of spite, out of clarity. If you ignore the person who signs the check, don't act shocked when the check disappears. Last week, Judy said something at the market. I was picking lemons. She leaned in and said, "You always said yes. Maybe that's why they thought you'd never say no." I didn't answer. But she wasn't wrong. The hard part isn't the silence. It's knowing I let them rehearse that disrespect for years. Birthday planning without me. Medical bills charged to my card. A car we bought that never had my name on it, but my balance sure took the hit. And now they say, "But we're family." Okay? Then why did I have to be humiliated to realize I was being used? That day I didn't speak. I didn't post. I didn't text. I just placed my coffee black 1 sugar on the table, slid the chair an inch further from its old spot, and sat across from it. Some people notice presence. Others only notice absence. I'm done performing both. I finished eating, rinsed my plate, and folded the napkin. The chair stayed where it was. And the next conversation, that one was going to happen on my time.